Eric Swalwell, a potential, so they say, 2020 candidate, facing scrutiny over an old op-ed, as an old op-ed resurfaces of him calling for a ban on certain guns.
Well, social media erupted in response, with one user replying in part. So basically, Congressman Swalwell wants a war because that's what you would get.
The congressman responding with a tweet saying it would be a short war, my friend. The government has nukes, too many of them, but they're legit. I'm sure if we talked, we could find common ground to protect our families and communities. Here to react is Dan Bongino, NRA TV host, former Secret Service agent, and author of Spygate. Dan, what do you make of this tweeting? I don't understand for the life of me why people tweet stuff like this out, but what do you make of the tweet, and what do you think the reaction is to people at home who want their Second Amendment rights protected and are a little fearful of a government that could potentially get too powerful?
Oh my gosh, what do I think of? I mean, this may be the single dumbest tweet in the history of the Twitters. I mean, who tweets this? No less a United States congressman. Now, just some background on this, though, Jedediah. Congressman Swalwell months ago had proposed the idea of legislation to confiscate firearms from legal gun owners, to take away weapons, to do it. So there's actual background to this story. So the story came up again, and that's how he got in this back and forth. But, I mean, he wants to run for president in 2020. Like, what's his slogan going to be? Like, Swalwell 2020, we've got the nukes? I mean, this is the liberal mindset, that we should genuflect in front of the power of the United States government. Now, just to be clear, no one actually believes Swalwell wants to nuke Americans, but still, it was really dumb to say it that way, and it does feed into the fears of a lot of gun owners that a lot of these government officials are just, you know, they're just out of control.
Yeah, as Dan suggested, for the record, the congressman later said he was being sarcastic, but obviously it raised a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, let's move on. Tijuana, the mayor there, asking for this country's government, Mexico. He wants $4 million as the Migrant Caravan overwhelms his city. You know, Dan, when President Trump says, I'm worried about the caravan, the mainstream media, Democrats say he's exaggerating the problem. The mayor of Tijuana all of a sudden sees it coming and says, I need help, give me $4 million. Is he a racist?
Yeah, it's incredible, right? I mean, you know, the media's been telling us the caravan doesn't exist. It's a figment of our imagination. Yet we keep seeing video. I mean, it's not doctored. It's not like some Adobe Creative Shop video where people just made it up. The caravan's real. Like, it's actually happening. There's a legitimate debate to be had on both sides about how this should work out when they get to the border. Obviously, they should enter via ports of entry, but saying it doesn't exist is absurd. And guys, listen, you know, chaos is not a brand. And the Democrats really need to get their arms around this. This is a serious issue to a lot of Americans. My wife is a legal immigrant to this country. So is her family. They did it the right way. Showing up outside of a port of entry and demanding United States citizenship as if it's some kind of a global right in a chaotic manner, climbing the fence, as we've seen some videos of. You know, this is not the way to ingratiate yourself to a country you want to become a citizen of, or say you want.
Yeah, it seems like an odd disposition if you want to come in for the right reasons. Well, let's go back to Capitol Hill for a second. House Republicans are saying they want to subpoena James Comey, get more information about his actions around 2016. James Comey tweeting this in response. He said, House Republicans can ask me anything they want, but I want the American people to watch, so let's have a public hearing. Truth is best served by transparency. Let me know when is convenient. So what do you make of his response and Republicans' attempts to get him to talk?
Oh, gosh, I'm so frustrated by this guy. He wants transparency. Pete, you realize in July of 2016, when the investigation into the Trump team started, right, he was obligated to notify Congress quarterly about sensitive investigations. Now, just a question for the audience. You think an investigation into a major party presidential candidate was sensitive? I'm just going to throw that. You guys can all discuss, okay? I would say the answer is yes. But that's not what Comey did. He waited 8 months past the deadline to notify Congress, hid the investigation from them until March of 2017, the next year. So it is laughable, comical for Jim Comey to start talking about transparency now. And remember, this case was based on the dossier that he called salacious and unverified.
And yet they still used it for a FISA warrant and renewed it. Dan Bongino, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan, thanks, man. Appreciate it.